Okay, is your knife sharp? That's the question, right? So this is what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to sharpen this knife. Now, one thing you want to know about knives is the edges, okay? So this is how you want the edge to be when you get started, and this is how it's going to be when you finish it, okay? If your knife is so damaged that it's all dull across here like that, then you've got to reform this first. Then you finish up with this little end right at the end. So you're going to steepen the angle at the second part. So let me show you. So I've got my my knife, got your stone, and what I'm doing is I'm fairly flat here, right? So I'm bringing it fairly flat. Because what I'm doing is I'm reforming this edge right here, okay? I need to get that established first, and if that's all goofed up, then you're never going to get your knife sharp. So I am not going to bore you with the details, you know, as I sharpen this. I want to ask you another question, because I've been thinking long and hard about doing these videos and what I wanted to do with this channel this year. And I have got a lot of things in the pipeline. You know, I've been making pottery. You can see up here, some of this stuff is stuff I've made, not all of it. I didn't make these two, but I can show you how I went from being a complete novice, never having touched clay before, to a professional level in less than 2 years. Without any special skill or talent, I assure you. Right, for crying out loud. Just look at my drawing. That should tell you everything you need to know about my artistic abilities, okay? But what I've discovered is that you can do a lot more than you think you can if you know how to apply some principles, okay? You have to know how to get sharp. Now see, I know that I've got that edge reformed because it creates a burr, and you can feel it because I'm going sideways with my thumb. Don't ever do this. Don't go up and down a blade. I had a friend of mine, I gave him a blade one time, and the first thing he did is run his thumb right up that. And then I wasn't there when he did it. And then he left a trail of blood all the way to his car and drove himself to the hospital, and it took him 4.5 hours to surgically put his finger back on. So please, sharp instruments are dangerous. Now, dull instruments, I would say, are more dangerous because they take more effort to cut through something. And the more you're pushing, the more you're going to slip and you're going to harm yourself. It pays to have a sharp knife. And just like it pays to have a sharp knife, ask yourself, are you sharp? Are you sharp like this knife is going to be in just a minute? So now what I'm going to do, I've reformed that edge, and I'm going to turn this up from a real shallow angle. I'm going to bring it up just like that. So I'm just giving you the down and dirty on how to get your knife sharp at home without using specialized equipment, okay? Hey, if you're into that, if you're into all this specialized equipment, it's fine. Go ahead with that. I don't have any grief with it at all. I just want to know, and I want to share with you how to get it done if you don't have it. And look, I have the privilege of having these nice stones that were left to me by my father, but they are very expensive to go buy these days, and they're nice to have. But what are you going to do if you're out there in the woods, you don't have this big old heavy stone in your pack and your knife's all boogered up, right? What are you going to do? Now, I showed before in another video one time how to do it, how to sharpen your knife on a river rock. And I had somebody going up one side of me, down the other, because I was just teaching people to damage their knives. Well, look, the knife is for you, not you for the knife. And if you need a sharp tool, get a sharp tool. And if that takes a river rock to do it, then use a river rock to do it. The principles remain the same, okay? You're creating two edges here. You're reforming the primary edge, and then going a little bit steeper to finish off that secondary edge. And now, if you really want to make it sharp, you get yourself a piece of 2x4. This is a 2x3, and I had some leather, and I just used some epoxy, not really epoxy. It was just like, I think contact cement is what it was, and I put that on there, and you put the rough side on top, okay, and then you're going, before I was taking the blade toward me, right, like this, forming those edges. But now I'm going to refine those edges by taking it backward like that, right across the top of that leather. Now this will make it shaving sharp, scary sharp. And it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to get it there. It doesn't take a lot of time. You can get these I'm trying to remember the name of them. It doesn't come to me right now, but it's basically, they're polishing compounds. That's what they are. And you just rub them on here, and they have different levels. Like this is a 1 through 5. It starts with heavy duty, and it goes down to light, and then high gloss. So, you can play with that and see, what works for you, what you like. You just rub that on that leather, and this refines that edge right down. So my point in showing you this, one, just simply have a sharp blade. It's good to have in your toolbox, right? So if you want to be able to have a sharp blade, doesn't it make sense to be sharp as a person? How do we get there? Well, the truth is that there are spiritual principles involved. And this is where some of you are going to check out. That's fine. Go your way. But if you want to know how to be sharp and how to be able to go from 0 to professional in less than 2 years in something as complicated as pottery, then stick around and I'll show you. But you have to make a decision first, because I am not going to teach witchcraft. There is a spiritual component to every part of life. I don't care what it is you're doing. There is a spiritual connection to it. And if you understand how to operate that way, and it's very simple, it's not hard, okay? But I am not going to teach people witchcraft. Either I'm going to teach it according to the truth as I understand the truth. I'm not going to sit around doing sanctimonious speeches. I'm not going to try to convince you. You can do it or not do it. It's up to you. Okay? But there are some people out there that want to know. And I can teach you how to get into a zone consistently on purpose that will help you learn faster and perform at a much higher level than you ever imagined you could. Right? But the first thing you have to do is make a decision. You have to decide whether Jesus Christ is Lord or not. And it really comes down to that. Now, if you decided that he is, awesome. We're going to have a great year, and it's going to be exciting. But the most exciting part to me isn't what I'm going to be doing. It's what you're going to be doing as a result. Now, some things that came to mind as I was meditating on this video and what I wanted to share with you. In Matthew 10, right? Because if I'm going to do this, I have to use the Word of God, because there is no other source for accurate information. When you're talking about the spirit realm and how to operate effectively in it, there is no better manual than this right here. In Matthew 10, verse 27, he says, "Whatever I tell you in the dark, speak in the light, and what you hear in the ear, preach on the housetops." Now, if you're not connected with him, you're not going to hear anything. You're not going to see anything. He says, "What I tell you in the dark, speak in the light. And what you hear in the ear, preach on the housetops." So, isn't it important that we know how to hear and see? right? But he's not talking about natural hearing and natural speech, is he? Do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul, but rather fear him who is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. These are the words of Jesus. And this gets left out a lot. And this is the decision that has to be made. Is he Lord? Are you going to heaven with him? Or is he going to destroy both soul and body in hell? That's really what it comes down to. I can't make it any more simple than that. And it's right here in the book. I'm not making it up. And I'm not passing judgment. I'm just saying, I don't want you to go to judgment, right? And that's what he's doing. The gospel is simple. He sent his son to pay for the price of all of our crimes so that we don't have to. It doesn't get any simpler than that. You have that picture of the three men on the cross. You have Jesus and you have Barabbas. You have Jesus and you have two criminals, right? And you have the one who says, Lord, let me enter with you into paradise. And he says, you will. And so he takes him, but the other guy, he doesn't. No one got baptized. They didn't speak in tongues. They didn't prophesy. They didn't heal the sick. They didn't say a sinner's prayer. None of that happened, right? But one went to heaven and one did not. Make a decision. Make the right decision, I hope, okay? So, let me go down here a little bit further. In verse 34, he says, do not think that I came to bring peace on earth. All right, this is a big misconception. Everybody in the Christian world wants to be nicey nice all the time. All right, look, we're supposed to be loving, but loving means keeping you out of the fires, right? So it comes with a little bit of truth first. And sometimes I've found, at least in my life, the truth can sting just a little bit, okay? And it's for my own benefit. If it doesn't sting, if the correction isn't a little bit painful, was there any correction? I mean, come on, right? At some point, you just have to realize, humble yourself to realize you don't know everything, suck it up and say, okay, I guess I was wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be running my own life. Maybe the one who created it all is a little more qualified. Too much to ask, okay? He says, do not think that I came to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's enemies will be those of his own household. Man, if that doesn't describe what's going on in our country today, I don't know what does. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. He who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will find it. So those are some hard words right there. The gospel isn't easy. It's free, but it's not easy. But a decision has to be made. Are you willing to lay down your life for the sake of his? Now, I can tell you that in my own life, I had to come to the end of realizing that I was doing a really poor job and admit to it before I was going to let him run it. And I still struggle. Every day I struggle. And you will too. But I'm hoping that you will consider not just the possibility, the reality that God is real, that he wants you in heaven. He does not want you in hell. You are already on your way. He's not sending you there. We're already all on our way if we're under judgment. He sent his son so that we don't have to fall under judgment. So he paid the price. All he's asking us to do is to believe it and respond accordingly. Okay? It's just that simple. Make the decision. All right? So that's all I have for you right there. But let's see how this knife does. All right? In just the few swipes that I did improve any? Yeah, I think so. In a crazy world, have a sharp knife. Be a sharp human. See you next time.